Hey, what's up, everyone? I want to welcome you to another episode of Here's What I Think with your host, Charles Tabansi, where we discuss everything from current events, economics, politics, and how it all affects business and life. So let's get into today's topic here, right? And today we're going to be focusing on the fallout from the U.S. presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump. Now, going into that debate, they were pretty much tied in the polls. Right. As a matter of fact, Trump had pretty much edged ahead of her, which is interesting because given all of the euphoria, the excitement after the Democrats made the announcement that she was going to be replacing Joe Biden to run against Donald Trump, one would have thought that she would have gone into that debate with a lead. But actually, that's not what happened. Given the fact that she was able to raise all of that money and all of that, essentially what happened was she was able to close the gap that existed between President Biden and Donald Trump, because we all knew that, especially after that first debate, that Joe Biden had absolutely zero shot of beating Donald Trump in the general election. I think the Democrats figured that out rather quickly. Nancy Pelosi and others were working behind the scene to ensure that they replaced Joe Biden with a more viable candidate that would be able to compete against Donald Trump. So that they did, if we're just assessing it from that standpoint, successfully. But going into that debate, you know, there was a lot of excitement and a lot of anticipation. And in fact, it led to record-breaking numbers of over 67 million people tuning in on ABC to watch that debate. That's the most amount of people that have ever tuned into a U.S. presidential debate. It had never, ever happened before. And in the aftermath of it, I think the consensus opinion out there is that, look, Kamala Harris won the debate. Right? Most networks feel that way. Most analysts feel that way. Now, obviously, there's some pockets out there of individuals who feel as if Donald Trump came out on top. Some people felt like, it was an unfair debate, which we're going to get to a little bit later. But after the debate, we also heard that Kamala immediately requested for a second debate. But then we found out that Donald Trump turned it down. I actually want to read from a BBC report that we got here. And it says the following: Trump rules out another presidential debate against Harris. It continues on. Donald Trump has ruled out another presidential debate against his rival, Kamala Harris, before November's election. He said on Thursday, 2 days after the pair's first showdown in Philadelphia, that Harris only wanted a rematch because he clearly won. Several instant polls taken after Tuesday's contest indicated voters felt Harris had performed better than her Republican opponent. Trump added that Harris should instead focus on her job as a vice president. Shortly after, at a campaign rally in North Carolina, Harris responded by saying they owe voters another debate because what is at stake could not be more important. Polls suggest the two candidates are in an extremely tight race with just 2 months to go before the election. Both claimed victory after Tuesday's 90-minute debate on ABC News, in which Harris rattled Trump with a string of personal attacks that put him on the defensive. These included comments about the size of his rally crowds and his conduct during the 6th January 2021 riot on U.S. Capitol Hill. Trump and his supporters have since accused the two ABC journalists that moderated the debate to be unfair and biased in favor of Harris. He said on Thursday that he did not need another debate. And then the article then goes in to say a few other things. Now, I want to get back to that point in terms of the moderators and what was said and them kind of ganging up on Trump. That's a point that they pointed out, right? This is a point that they hammered home, talking about David Luer and Lindsey Davis, saying that they were basically up there to debate against Trump, and it was 3-on-1. Other people say, no, what are you talking about? They were up there to essentially fact check him because he was up there saying some pretty outlandish things. One of the lines that made news all around the world was and I was actually, as I was watching it, I actually posted this in a group chat, my family group chat, because I was just beside myself. It was just hilarious, where he said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the pets. I literally fell out of my chair. It was that hilarious. And some people have been wondering, well, is that really what's taking place? Apparently, there was a story out there about some immigrants that were eating cats and dogs and all of that. So I want to quickly read from another BBC article where they were just basically going over some of the things that were said in terms of the fact check. So it says, eating pets, inflation, and abortion, key debate claims fact checked. Let's go through it. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris went head to head in their first televised debate in the U.S. Election campaign. In 90 minutes, Often fire exchanges, the Republican and Democratic presidential candidates traded claims over key election issues, including the economy, immigration, and abortion. BBC Verify has been examining them. Are immigrants in Ohio eating pets? Claim Trump in Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. Verdict: there is no evidence that this has happened. Let's move into the next one. Was Trump era unemployment worse since the 1930s? Claim Harris: Donald Trump left us in the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Verdict: this is false. At the end of Trump's term of office in January 2021, the unemployment rate was 6.4%, but it has been higher since the Great Depression. In October 2009, unemployment peaked at 10% in a period of deep economic recession. I'll go through a few more. Are millions of people coming into the U.S. from prisons and asylum? Claim Trump: we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums. Verdict: there is no evidence of these kind of numbers. There have been about 10 million encounters with migrants crossing over the U.S. border since January of 2021. I'll read one more. Will Trump sign a national ban on abortion? Harris, her claim: if Donald Trump were to be elected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Verdict: this is misleading. Trump has denied that he will sign a national ban if elected. He has said that he will leave limits on abortions access up to the individual states to decide them. And then the article then goes on to fact check a few other things. You guys can go there and hunt down the information for yourself. So what are my thoughts on this? Look, elections can be very confusing. Why? Because there are a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things to know about. Again, abortion, immigration, the economy, healthcare, and foreign policy, all of these different parts. And you got to know, you have to be well versed in all of these different parts. So to me, I can understand if there's some confusion that exists out there. Maybe some people felt, in this case, the moderators felt like some of it was a little bit too over the top. Maybe that's the reason that they tried to check Donald Trump on stage. Some people had issue with it. Some people had no issue with it at all. Nevertheless, the overall sentiment seems to be that Kamala Harris is won that debate. And based on some polling information that we got that we're going to cover a little bit later, obviously depends on which order you're watching these shows, it seems as if that currently, she may be leading in some of the key states. So what I want to know from you guys, number one, is what do you think about today's analysis? Number two, what are your thoughts on the debate? And how do you see this thing playing out as we move forward? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys on the next show.